my God, guys. And perhaps one of the best stories going on in wrestling today, professional wrestling today. We all anticipated it for months. We experienced, we knew it would eventually happen. And Sami Zayn at the Royal Rumble has officially been exiled, never becoming an official Oos, being an honorary Moose, has officially been kicked out of the bloodline. Oh my God, guys. Wow. And the beatdown was just crazy to watch. But in a night where Rhea Ripley won the Rumble, which I think was a right call. I think that was, I knew it from the moment she entered. And not only that, being one of the only fourth person out of about, let's see, was, I know a couple of people that wanted the number one spot. The fourth one to win at the number one spot in the Rumble. And she actually passed Bianca's record as one of the longest ones to last in the Rumble match. And it came down to her and Liv. So that was excellent, you know. And I like how this year, this year we got more women that were coming from NXT or some returns, some we hadn't seen in quite some time. Nia Jax came in number 30. I really was not expecting that. I don't think anybody was really expecting that. That was interesting. They all ganged up to get her eliminated. We saw the return of we saw the return of Piper Niven. She finally, dropped that Dewdrop name, which was perfect. I That's probably my moment of the night when he came out and dropped the Dewdrop name. We saw the return of Asuka. She hadn't been there in a while, and she's back to her old gimmick she seemed was doing back in New Japan, I believe, and that was nice to see with her. So we got some really nice things that took place in the men's rumble. Booker T, that was, commentated early in the night. He made an entrance in the rumble. Logan Paul came back in the rumble. He had a really good spot with him and Ricochet where they both leaped up the top rope and clotheslined each other. That was probably the moment of the night for the men's. But, in the main event, we had Roman against Ricochet. My bad. Roman against Kevin Owens. And the match was solid. The match was really solid. Kevin gave it what he got. Roman, it took about 3 spears, for Roman to put Kevin away. Kevin, there was a point where he botched. It looked like he was going to try to go for a moonsault from the top rope, and he kind of botched it and fell on the ground. But other than that, he hit Roman with the pop-up powerbomb where the ref was down and pinned him. Roman, went for his normal methodical. So at one point he kept clotheslining him, on the ropes. Kevin did him with the stutter, but he kicked out. Roman didn't use the guillotine in this match. So the match was really solid. Kevin gave it everything from the frog splash to the sentons. And it was just a really, as you would expect in a Roman's match at this point. But Roman in the final portions just got brutal. After he speared Kevin through the barricade, after he, smashed his head on the steel steps, which is really quite disturbing to watch. And, he did it twice. You're looking at Sammy's face, he was disturbed to watch it. There was even a point where when the ref was down before before he got back in the ring, he told Sammy get a chair. He said, "You told me to do nothing." And he said, "I'm telling you right now to get a chair." You saw the hesitation in Sammy's face, like he didn't want to do it, and he kind of hesitated. And when he did give him the chair, that's when Roman got stuttered and kicked out. And so, it was the emotion, the brutality. Sammy, these guys just deserve an Oscar for the way this whole thing has been built. And you knew that it was going to happen eventually, being that the Elimination Chamber is going to be in Montreal. The plan seems to still be for Sammy and Kevin to take those, to face the Usos at WrestleMania. And you knew it even more so when Cody took and won the men's rumble after a really good showing between him and Gunther. I was surprised Gunther, it came down to them two. I really thought it was going to come down to him and Seth, but it ended up being him and Gunther. Seth got eliminated by Logan Paul, which I wasn't expecting. So that was very different. I didn't expect that to happen. But then, Cody went and eliminated Logan Paul, and it came down to him and Gunther. So Gunther had a really good showing in the men's rumble. But Cody, redemption from his injury, came back and won it. So, we're going to get him and Roman at WrestleMania. And I hope it's it. I hope this is the period that they drop the belts, him and the Usos at this point. I mean, because the way this story is built, like, you can only feel so bad for Sammy. The popularity, the stuff, the things Roman had said to him all, time and time again. The fact he was almost about to get kicked out the group, and on Raw when they had the trial of Sammy. But what gets me with this beatdown and the way he was kicked out after Roman retained, because they were about to put Jay was about to be the one to put it on him, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. I mean, it was too obvious. You look at Sammy's face for what he did during the match and the constant beatdown they continue to give Kevin Owens. When Roman had the Usos beat him down some more, had Solo beat him down some more with super kicks, and to the point where they locked his arms up on the ropes, and Roman was about to hit him. It was disturbing for Sammy to watch. Roman was about to hit him with a chair, and Sammy, instead of hitting, Kevin with the chair, he stopped Roman. He said, you're better than this. You're done. Like, you're done. You don't need to do this. He's like, right, I don't need to do this. You do it. And he kept saying, Kevin doesn't care about you. You're our family. I love you. Like, before you were doing this, you were doing the donkey stuff, referring to when he faced that, the guy's name's not coming to me right now, but the guy from, those movies, he said, and he was really tempting, and Sammy's just started crying, and Paul's like, why are you crying? And he's like, do it. And, instead of Sammy hitting Kevin, he struck Roman. And the thing about this is the substance. I mean, the substance of this story is just perfection at its finest. When he hit the chair, the first two that did not hesitate to attack Sammy were the same two that were the closest to him the whole time he thought that they were his family, that they were his friends. Because Jimmy was the guy that Sam would always say he had no problem with, that he was cool with. They had their little handshake. And I knew that when they turned, it would likely be Jimmy and Solo that wouldn't hesitate to attack. And you could see the emotion on Jay's face when he hit the chair on Roman, especially after he had just backed them up on Raw, when he was about to be attacked by Solo, with the spike, Samoa spike, and, in honor of their late uncle Umaga, he defended him. So he said, you really gonna do this to me? And you can see the emotion. Now, what's interesting, I do think this is going to still lead to Jay getting back with Jimmy. But the substance at this very moment where Jay just leaving, like he didn't even get involved in the beatdown, Jimmy didn't hesitate. And which was funny to me because that was the one Sammy the whole time was saying he was so close with. Jimmy didn't hesitate to beat him down. Solo didn't hesitate to beat him down. It was Jay that just didn't do anything. He just let them do it because he was heartbroken and he just left. He didn't want no part of it. And they just beat, Sammy down. Roman ripped the shirt off of him, the honorary shirt off of him. Jimmy gave another super kick to Kevin as he was sitting there. And it was brutal, and the fans, with the constant hearing of Sammy, you just knew it was going to implode. And the fact that he said on Raw this was going to be his final test, I think we all kind of figured that with Elimination Chamber in Montreal, he'll probably get the title shot and he'll lose. You know, he'll probably get a match with Roman and Montreal, or perhaps, you know, they might cross paths at the Chamber. But if it was any time to do it, I mean, this was probably the best time to do it at this point. I mean, you got about 2 months before WrestleMania, and so it made perfect sense here. And I really just wanted to come on here and talk about that because, you know, like I said, the rest of the show, Cody won. I think most of us expected that, but what I didn't expect was for him and Gunther to be the final two. So that was a nice little surprise. You know, I would definitely say that. Some of the men's rumble I've missed, but I've seen that, you know, apparently, I guess Ray didn't make it in the ring, and Brock attacked Baron Corbin after he got eliminated by Bobby Lashley. Johnny Gargano was in there for a pretty long time. Edge came back. I did see that. You know, he eliminated Judgment Day, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. And then they eliminated him to keep Dominic in there. Dominic didn't get eliminated until, I think, Cody. I think by the time Cody came, that's when he got eliminated. So it took a while. So he was in there for quite a while. And Drew and Sheamus was in there for a long time, too. For about 50-something minutes or so. They were in there for a long time. So, you know, outside of that, the Rumbles definitely were interesting. I think the women's, for me, probably the best that they've done in quite a while, because the only really past talent you had in there was Michelle McCool, but most of it was, you know, talent that were current. Like you had Roxanne come out there. Trying to remember what entrant number she was, but she was very early, maybe the fourth or fifth entrant. She came out there. Zoe Starks was an entrant. That was nice. That was a nice little treat. Indy Hartwell was an entrant. Felt bad for Chelsea Green. She got eliminated as soon as she got in the ring. You know, that's probably the worst way to come back. Then you had that spot where Selena Vega eliminated Xia Li. So you had a lot of interesting spots. But, you know, like I said, it's at the end of it, you know, it was definitely something, and I figured they would have Rhea win, so probably Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania. Nice way to do that, especially, you know, because she's been protected heavily since joining Judgment Day, ever since she's been a part of it. She hasn't really lost a singles match at all, hasn't even been pinned. And she was supposed to face Bianca last year, but I think a brain injury or something prevented it from happening. So that, you know, it didn't happen. I think she'll probably be the one to take the belt from. Bianca's had a really good reign. You know, I've enjoyed it, but she's had a really good reign. But I think this particular WrestleMania will probably be Rhea's moment. I mean, she did it, win the Raw Women's Championship from Asuka back at WrestleMania 37. But, you know, that reign, unfortunately, was kind of overshadowed. Didn't really last that long. But, you know, you kind of figured. But like I said, I mainly just want to come in here and talk about this. One of the best stories in wrestling today. And Roman, you know, he was getting crazy chants from the fans from the way they beat Sami down. And, you know, it's interesting where this is going to go from here. It's interesting to see how long Jay will go where he just kind of stays neutral and doesn't want to get involved. It's interesting to see how long it's going to be before Kevin actually gets back with Sami, because I don't think he's going to immediately, you know, want to get back with Sami. It's definitely going to take some time. But if this is all going to lead to them dropping the belts, I'm all for it. I hope that's what it does. Cody winning and this happening, if this is going to lead to them losing the belts at WrestleMania, because that's what it's got. That has to be the conclusion. Like, that has to be the end game for this. He probably faces Roman at Elimination Chamber and loses, or he's just involved in the chamber. We'd probably face him in a singles match. I mean, he's already lost to Roman before on SmackDown, but you know, he was attacked by Brock before that, so you can't really count that. But probably gives like a really good performance against Roman at the Chamber, loses, and then we lead to WrestleMania. I hope that's the direction Trips is going, depending on if he's still running it by then. I really don't know what's going on with the direction right now, creative, because you know Vince is back, so that could maybe change. But I hope that is the case because, I mean, Roman, you know, Sammy's getting so much praise right now. Like, this has to happen. I mean, the bloodline has run for so long now. You just want to. You're just anticipating for them to all drop those belts. You're just anticipating it. So I really hope that's what happens. You know, Michael Cole pointed out in the commentary, Roman hasn't been pinned since I believe December 15th, 2019, which that pin wasn't even clean. I think the last time he probably lost clean was maybe when he lost to Bobby Lashley at Extreme Rules 2018. I legitimately think that's the last time he lost clean. That last loss he had to Baron Corbin was not clean. That was not a clean loss. But that just shows how protected he's been this whole time. You really want to see it after this. So one of the best stories going. Sad to see Sammy like that. Sad to see Kevin like that. But you really want to see this end game at this point. And I hope that's where they're going with this. So that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry, Mr. Flex. I do want to briefly touch on the other undercard matches. Bianca match with Alexa wasn't that great, but you know, the stuff that happened afterwards with Alexa was a whole nother story. You kind of see where they're going with that. But it was okay. I didn't think it was bad or anything. I thought it was okay. Um, by far, I definitely thought they did what they could do. Um, and Bianca retained in a good fashion. But I just kind of knew the spot it was in. It wasn't going to get a lot of time. The pitch black match was relatively short too. Between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, and you had that whole stuff that happened afterwards. So that was pretty crazy, but that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry, Mr. Flex, like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you guys later.